working for you.
Yes.
Working for you.
NBC5 News.
Lame.
There you go. Okay, go.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the PonyTonite Podcast, where a group of 4 friends get together to Netflix and chill with your favorite personalities in the Brony fandom. Sheldon is currently being pegged by his waifu, and Faith is lost at the bottom of a fur pile. So the responsibility of host has fallen upon me, Corpulent Brony. And yes, I am Corpulent Brony. I'm joined tonight by regular co-hosts, Briss, a hobo moose who jumps on the trains.
Oh, that's Licky, but he's not here.
He's not here, yes. And the Burning Donut, who is a dog that draws things. And as a special fill-in host, we have also brought Remington Hernandez. Say hello, Remington.
Hello.
Hi.
And Briss, I talked about Briss earlier. Say hello.
Hi.
He's a bro who likes to get drunk and watch ponies. Our special guest tonight is none other than Chef Sandy, also known as Savrin in the furry community, a fellow podcaster and co-chair of Nightmare Nights Dallas, an unofficial My Little Pony fan convention located in the wonderful Crown Plaza, Addison, in North Dallas, Texas, which will run next weekend from October 23rd through the 25th. How are you doing tonight, Sandy? Can I call you that?
Yeah, Sandy works. And yes, I'm doing good.
We're going to send it to Remington.
Doing the final preparations now and just all down to execution at this point.
Wonderful. Thanks, Remington. That was much better than I could have done it.
I'm Corp, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's just keep this persona going for the whole show, okay?
Okay, so Sandy, how did you get into the fandom? You said at the beginning here that you've been on the ride since it started. So how did you hop on that ride?
Well, as a longtime denizen of 4chan, I was quite
Who
fond
is
of
this
going
4chan?
on. He's a hacker. In case you didn't know. Blows up vans, stuff like that. And I saw this guy spamming about My Little Pony, and then the article calling out Lauren Faust for making a smart shaming blah 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 nonsense article on MS Magazine, and was like, well, that's stupid, I'll check this out. And my first episode was Applejack season, and I've been kind of watching the show ever since then. I know, right?
So was that when it actually came out, or did you watch it on Netflix or something?
I actually watched it when it came out.
Oh, nice. That's
very, very, very early on.
Yeah. That's like the 3rd episode.
Yeah, and fourth, but yeah, I've been watching the show since season 1, since very early in season 1, and
nice.
Then on April 20th, 2011, we decided, my co-host Apple Cider and I said, hey, there's nobody doing pony podcasts yet. We should start that. And I believe that Bronyville was in fact the first pony podcast. Then, of course, everything exploded, and here we are today.
Wow.
But,
awesome.
Yeah, I've been involved in this fandom for a distressingly long time.
And even if the fandom pitters out, you'll probably still be in it, just by default.
More or less. It's like, man, I have my waifus.
If Nightmare Nights Dallas collapses because the fandom is gone, you'll just be in your room, and you'll have a big banner saying Nightmare Nights Dallas, and you'll just have scribbled in 20 whatever.
Well, in my office, I do have the BronyCon January 2012 poster that has my OC on it, as well as the 2014 poster, which also has my OC, drawn by the same artist, John Haseko.
Was 2012 the fire year?
No, 2012 was the first year in January, and
2013 was the fire year.
Yes.
Okay.
Fire Nation attacked.
So you mentioned the podcast thing. Have you noticed, have you noticed any viewership of your podcast decline, or do you guys see a steady improvement, or just sort of the same over time? I'm just asking as a fellow podcaster.
Well, unfortunately, the fandom has seemingly contracted, at least when it comes to consuming pony media. It's been quite a while, and we don't have very many people show up for the live streams, but we do have a good number actually download or watch it on YouTube. But I think a lot of it was the 11-month hiatus.
Yeah.
That basically people wandered on to other things, and things only hold your interest for so long, and as my friends and I have basically put it, there's the hardcore fans and the crazies left. which are we.
All right.
Well, to be quite fair, it's full disclosure, I'm not the biggest brony anymore. Like, once the hiatus started and such, I went on to further my voice career. Literally, that's what happened in the 11 months. So,
Well, on my end, I have another con I work for. I'm also involved with doing audiobooks professionally, and also I started doing the Pony audiobook stuff for funsies. But yeah, I've been diversifying my creative output. It's hardly 100% Pony, as my YouTube channel would attest.
I see.
So, besides doing Nightmare Nights Dallas and the Bronyville podcast, is there anything else you do in the fandom?
Well, in terms of the Brony community, not really. The con is a very big undertaking and takes up a large amount of time, no doubt. And Bronyville is a weekly thing. We actually absorbed a second show. The PonyTonite Podcast, Alpha and 5 Iron. We teamed up and brought in our friend Scope, and we've been using. Scope's very good at getting people to come on, and so we've had a good series of interviews as of late. But that's really about it. And just the keeping relations between cons kosher and all that fun stuff. It's like all the diplomacy that's required in that game.
Yeah, we talked a lot with Silver Eagle, and we understand there's a lot of drama that sometimes.
It's a small market, and you gotta serve it. Gotta find what works and what doesn't, and be mindful. I mean, a lot of people, cons are a business, right? And you gotta look at your finances and figure out what you're gonna do. And digging yourself deep in the red is not a smart business tactic, that's for sure.
Yeah,
There are some people actually go to cons to make money, but I'm just saying.
Yes, the vendors certainly do all right, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, Nightmare Nights, though, it's been a labor of love. Been doing it. We actually, the first year was 2013, right? But we actually started organizing, like doing the research and finding, making connections and whatnot back in 2012.
Oh, wow.
We had a 13-month lead time before we actually pulled the first con off, because we, my co-chair and I basically wanted to assemble the best people we could and not just be like, hey, y'all, watch this.
So basically assemble the best people you could and then make a con that isn't BronyCon.
Well, yeah, I suppose. BronyCons figured their stuff out. And
I have some opinions, but I'll let you continue.
Well, I haven't attended BronyCon since January 2012, so I don't really have first-hand impressions.
What do you think, though, of these, there's been a lot of drama in the Carolinas as far as conventions go. These sort of startups that are planning, they say in 6 months they're going to have a con.
That is foolish.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, there's, and this, that area does not have really a lot of representation in terms of the con scene. There's the Florida Con, Grand Galloping Brony Gala, and then there's BronyCon, and that's about it. So if you're a brony in that region, you need to travel fairly far in one direction or another to get a con. But trying to set up a convention on that short of a notice, unless you've got a lot of money, like you're willing to sink into the project, that's a dangerous proposition.
Yeah.
And I know as a journalist, getting guests is a hard thing too. Actually contacting agents, networking through other people to get that takes time. And if you want your con to be successful, if you want your broadcast to be successful, you need to have guests that people want to see.
Yes.
And that is one of the major pulls of a con, is seeing the guests and the people you love.
Yes, and compared to other types of conventions, PonyCons skew more on the Comic Con side of things, that they're heavily reliant on the guests, and not necessarily the, people go to anime cons for anime and community, and not so much for the guests, though occasionally, people go, they've got some Japanese VA come over. But for PonyCons, it's definitely which VAs do they have, which member of the main six, or which background pony do they have.
I mean, if you were to get Megan McCarthy and Lauren Faust in the same con, it's going to be successful. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So, but let's say you get the voice actor for Purple Pony Episode 2.
Well,
nobody's
by
gonna come.
themselves, not necessarily, but it can be done.
I'm
It's
talking
all a
about
matter
Twilight
of
Sparkle.
scale. Oh,
So-
well, if you're Twilight Sparkle, you do all right.
Yes. So, do you have fun being the co-chair at a convention? I mean, what exactly do you do as a co-chair? What is that like?
All right. Well, as the co-chair of Nightmare Nights Dallas, I do wear many hats. A lot of the organizational duties basically fall on I and my co-chair's shoulders alone. We contact the agents. We deal with our hotels. Our benevolent corporate overlords help us with the negotiations on the hotel side of things. But a lot of it, the contacting, like for shirts, getting the artists, a lot of the initial organization stuff it falls on our shoulders. And I view it as a challenge. It can be very, very stressful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you are an individual with a staff that is responsible for thousands and thousands of dollars, and you need to manage that correctly. Because, running a con is a hobby for madmen. And, but it is running a business, and it's very good when it goes well and exciting when things go wrong. But, it's all about being able to solve problems and put together a good event so that even if there are things that go wrong behind the scenes, the John Q. Pony fan, the people that show up and have fun. So to that point, yes, running a con can be a fun and rewarding experience.
Yeah, Purple Tinker always says that you have to be totally insane to do a convention.
Now I have a question. I read somewhere in the past that you have an owner. Like there's an actual company that owns the con that also owns a few other cons. Can you explain that a bit?
Okay, well, Nightmare Nights Dallas is owned by Phoenix Entertainment. They're the folks that run A-Con, the 27 or so year old 30,000 attendee anime con here in Dallas in early June, that at the Anatole. They are the biggest of the big dogs when it comes to anime cons here in the South, and they're also the oldest, I believe. And so we're owned by them, and they provide material assistance and, basically, we're their little brother. It's like don't make Big Brother mad, right? And that does help a lot. They don't provide fiduciary support, but they material and
because that's always made me interested in that portion, because I know then a lot of other companies or entities that are owned by something else, there's a lot of control from that owning entity, and I guess that's not the case here.
No, thankfully it helps that the owners are also friends, and they basically they keep an eye on things, but do not meddle at all. We basically have free reign to conduct our business as we see fit, and basically there's times where they just kind of like, things are going cool, right? Yeah, cool, have fun. It's really a very laid-back relationship.
So, Sheldon,
Ah,
you having fun with your waifu there?
Yeah, I mean, good times, everybody.
Wonderful. Are you home?
Yeah.
I thought you weren't going to be
Yeah,
home for another hour.
Well, I convinced the corporate slackjaw drones to let me go, and they did. So
Oh, beautiful.
I am
Well,
here.
Our host Sheldon has arrived.
Yay!
I guess that means my position is filled. I think
Hello,
I say
Internet.
goodbye.
You don't have to leave if you don't want to.
Okay.
So what are we talking about?
Well,
We're
we've
talking about-
discussed Nightmare Nights and Sandy, how he got in the fandom, how he started, how Nightmare Nights began. I had
Yes.
I had one more question I had written down about Nightmare Nights, but
go right ahead.
That's good because I wrote down none. So
and this is probably the sort of the crux, the big question. So why should I go to Nightmare Nights Dallas? For someone listening, who's coming, what's going on, what do you guys got planned?
All right. Well, Nightmare Nights Dallas, we like to view ourselves as a very relaxed event. We're North Texas, take it slow. We choose our guests based upon their general willingness to interact with the fans. We tend to pick the people that'll show up at the hotel bar and close it down, talking to the guests and generally being cool about regular interaction. We have basically haven't had that many repeat guests. So far, we had Andrea Libman, we've had Peter New, Brenda Critchlow, we've had St. Germain, Brett McKillop. So most of the main 6 that we could get. And this year we've got Kathy Wiesluck, Marika Hendricks, voice of Gilda and Sonata Dusk. We've got Kazumi Evans, singing voice of Rarity and Luna. And then from the show staff, we've got Josh Haber, based Haber, he who also wrote Equestria Girls 3. Natasha Levenger, who has written several episodes, including, I believe, Make New Friends But Keep Discord, which introduced us to the wonderfulness that is Tree Hugger. We also have Ishii Rudell, director of Equestria Girls 3. Katrina Hadley, lead storyboarder for Equestria Girls 3. We're fairly have a lot of Equestria Girls guests this year.
And see, that always mixed me up. I thought that bronies didn't consider Equestria Girls a part of the thing.
Well, I mean, it is.
It's not.
I mean, they've warmed up to it over the years. I mean, a lot of people enjoy it. It sells. It's a good brand. People like it. So
it certainly does very well for Hasbro.
No, it's not.
How much did Hasbro pay you, Sheldon?
nothing.
He does it for
All
free.
the money in the world, Remy.
Let's see.
Does it for free.
Is that Canadian dollars?
And on the from the comics, we've got Heather Breckle, who does the color for a lot of the comics, and Jen Blake, who has done only a few comics, but her style was really distinctive, and she seems like a cool gal, and is also of the hang out and drink with the bronies type guest.
Yeah.
A lot of our decisions are based upon how cool are these folks with regular interactions. They're not going to like show up, do their panel, and then go hide in the green room for the rest of the day.
Like Corp.
Yeah, I was looking at your guest earlier today, and you mentioned this. Have a drink, hang out with the guests, and I don't see Larson, man. I'm pretty disappointed here. I'm not happy.
Yeah, that was extremely unfortunate. So if you follow him on Twitter, he's been doing this Once Upon a Book tour with Ursula Vernon and some other dude. He's been going to elementary schools around the country. And Nightmare Nights' weekend is the only weekend that he's not going to be on tour in October. And he said that basically if he doesn't go home to see his wife and family, she would kill him. So we didn't have much choice in that regard.
I see. Nice.
Yeah.
That's too.
We'll bring his wife and children to Dallas.
I don't know. I don't think that would work out.
Or let him die after the con. Fuck him.
Exactly. I mean, didn't he do something very disgraceful that bronies hated? I forget.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was.
Well,
that was a long time ago, man. That was like, yeah.
We've forgiven him for that and accepted him back into our hearts.
Oh, it was Alicorn Twilight, yes.
Okay.
That was a thing, I think. Yeah.
It happened.
Happened a few years ago.
That never bothered me. I don't know about you guys.
So, what do you, maybe I can ask this, I don't know if it's too personal. What do you do outside the fandom? Like, do you have a job? Do you go to school?
Well, I do audiobooks professionally. There are a number of books that I have recorded and sell on audible.com. Primarily books by Kyle Gold, the Out of Position series. They're furry, watch out! And a couple of other things along that line. And basically, more or less, house husband. I do the audio stuff. That brings in money. Keep house for my partner. And, do YouTube stuff for fun on the side. Do pony audiobooks, do the occasional Let's Play, do an anime show with a friend of mine. It's...
That's quite interesting that you're doing these audiobooks. How much money is that bringing in for you?
Honestly, I've been doing them for a few years, and basically the work that I've done has been royalty in perpetuity. So that is to say, every book that sells via Audible, I get a few bucks. And to be completely honest, I make about as much as if I had a minimum wage job.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It is not a super lucrative thing, but it's also not. I don't have to go, work retail. I can do what I do, manage the convention. I could not manage the convention if I had a traditional job. The amount of time and effort it requires, I could not do. So yeah, audiobooks is my stuff, and basically being a house husband. So
you basically would do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. So I know I'm on the topic of money here again, but like,
Is real much?
Nightmare Nights here. Are you guys are clearly profitable, right? You're making money.
Mhm.
This convention, you've been doing it for a few years. How difficult has that been? Were you guys profitable at the very beginning?
We were not. Both Bob and I had to put in amount of cash on our own. But unfortunately, that is kind of the nature of the game. When we first founded ourselves, we were with the Dallas Regional Anthropomorphic Meeting Association. We were under them as a 501c7. And basically, we had to raise all the funds ourselves, and we ended up a little bit short in the end, which Bob and I had to pay. That's pretty common when it comes to first-year cons. And we're very conservatively budgeted. But in year 2, we tightened up things, got new ownership, and basically did turn a fairly decent profit in year 2. And which immediately goes back into paying for more things in the next year.
Right.
And you don't start a convention if you're looking to make money, that's for certain.
Well, obviously not.
I have a question to ask.
Okay.
Sorry, Corp. Well, I'll draft after this. You work with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You donate to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really noble thing because I had a sister with really bad problems and I had several family members with cancer that were children. And I think it's a very noble thing. How does that tie in? Like, what do you do to give back to them?
Well, all the money we raise via our charity auction goes to St. Jude's. Even though we are an LLC and technically we're profit, we still function as if we were a 501c charitable entity because that's kind of our goal. We want to raise money because really, fuck cancer. My mom's mom died of lung cancer. My grandfather has had skin cancer multiple times. My parents have dealt with skin cancer. And, a friend of mine, his mom recently died of cancer. I've known a lot of people that have had their lives damaged by cancer. I mean, 40% of people get cancer during their lifetimes. It's just a function of living. But St. Jude's is one of the best cancer charities for a multitude of reasons. They take care of kids for free. They don't charge the parents. The vast majority of their funding goes to actual treatment and research. And, it's primarily for kids with cancer. And while I don't have any kids, my co-chair does have 2, a 4-year-old and one who just turned 1. And we kind of chuckle and say it's a karmic insurance. But again, it's just one of those things that it's the right thing to do in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We also we also get food donations for the North Texas Food Bank, so we do that too.
Yeah, actually, I know. I personally know. I think one of the guys who helps out with your charities, Jason. I know he does a lot for you guys. Or he did. I have a question though, unrelated to the convention, if you don't mind.
Okay,
let's do it. Come on.
How do you see the relationship between the brony and the furry communities being in both?
Well,
Interesting.
I view, you ponies will be part of the furry community before too long, one way or the other.
Those that aren't already.
Indeed. Well, consider both. Now, it's a Venn diagram. There's the hardcore furries on one side, and there's the pony fans on the other, and ne'er the twain shall meet, except for that little bit in the middle where people shift one way or the other, end up liking more. It's not so much a relationship as like they begrudgingly occupy some of the same space, but there is a lot of crossover.
I know. It was funny. Like I was at a convention, like probably about like early 2011, and I was drawing some pony art, and everyone just kept like freaking coming up to me and being like, "Hey, draw me a picture of an Applejack. Draw me a picture of this." And I probably made like $200 in one night just doing nothing but like anthro pony sketches. And then like about a week after I got home, there was like this massive separation between bronies and furries, and they were like, "No, they're separate." It's just like ever since then, it's been a mess.
I mean, the whole thing's kind of funny because being a brony or a furry, these are self-identifying terms, and everybody kind of has their own definition for it, right? What they consider. wherever they fall. So there's a lot of arguments, obviously, online and offline about, all bronies are furries or furries aren't bronies. And really, at the end of the day, there's no concrete way to really say who is who. But obviously, if you want to go by definitions, you could say a furry is simply a fan of anthropomorphic characters.
And of which ponies are. But
and
really,
which ponies are. Right.
It boils down to what label you wish to use for yourself, and applying labels to other people against their will is kind of a dick move.
Yeah, Sheldon.
Oh, I know.
I guess. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that.
Well, there are some people who what made them furry made them become bronies.
It's cute.
Because like
cartoon animals.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would never consider myself a furry. I never did, ever, and I will never. But it's for my own reasons. But that's what a lot of bronies think. They don't particularly like hands or feet. They like hooves.
I never thought of it that way.
No hooves, 010 would not bang.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. That's how a lot of them are. And that's how I am. If I was to like, if I were to like something, it would have to be a pony, not something with hands or feet.
Whatever floats your anime goat, dude.
I have to admit, like the very first My Little Pony picture I ever drew got so much hate because it was an anthropomorphic pony. So everyone was like, "Oh my god, you fucking furries are ruining everything!" And it's like, whoa, hey, it's just a freaking picture of a pony in a bikini. Nothing crazy.
Well, it's interesting, if you've been in the fandom long enough, you have seen that the acceptance of anthro forms has gotten quite prevalent in a lot of ways, and you've seen artists shift from doing purely pony to doing mainly anthro. People like Skipsy and Atril, specifically. You've got people that have like matured their style and then shifted from doing the quadruped pony stuff to being anthro, and then in some cases just humanized.
Well, Atril was always kind of a back and forther between anthro and regular ponies, anyway.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's just what the it's kind of viewing it as from a business angle. It's what the market likes.
I want to say real quick, if anyone listening has any questions, go ahead and put them down in the chat. I'm gonna write them down and try and ask them.
Corp, could you link the stream to me again?
Yeah. I've got the chat popped out, and there's a few people talking.
Let's see here.
Anybody else have anything? Or I've got a couple questions already.
I have a question, but it's not that important.
Oh, go ahead, ask.
It's more of a social kind of question.
Good.
I was gonna ask you yourself. Would you consider yourself a homosexual man?
Bisexual, technically, but yes.
Bisexual, technically. Okay. Well, okay.
That's kind of personal.
I'm sorry, it's a personal question, but he admitted he had a husband.
This is a personal show. It's fine.
Yes.
I have been out since I was 16.
You too? Me too.
So yes.
But anyway, what I was trying to ask is, some people might be discouraged because of how the world sees them. But you seem to be a very successful person, and your partner's very successful as well, from what you said. What advice do you have to someone who is 13, who's having these issues, not issues, but having the same thoughts that you and I probably did at 13, but want to be successful? Do you think that the world's against them? And what advice do you have?
I would say don't put a lot of weight on other people's opinions of you.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the person that should matter most to you is you.
Mm-hmm.
And try to set goals for yourself and focus on that, because all the assholes and people that give you shit when you're a kid, odds are you won't have to deal with them after you're grown up. And it'll be different people, but it's one of those things. Have a good self-image. I believe in yourself. I know that sounds cheesy, but basically don't base your self-worth on other people's opinions of you.
Thank you.
Also, understand that your sexuality doesn't really have anything to fucking do with like your aspirations in life. Like it doesn't matter.
Kids these days have it a lot easier in a lot of ways because it's no longer such a huge stigma thing. And
Well, depending on where you are, to be quite
that's
honest.
true.
I'd say generally, definitely.
Generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I grew up in Texas in the 90s as a rather scared queer kid. And then I was like, well, I just kind of rolled with it. Because, I mean, I'm probably old. Probably older than most y'all here. I'm 32.
Actually, you've got two people here older than you.
Oh.
Yep.
I'm one of them.
I am the youngest here, and I'm not sure if I should mention my age.
No.
You're not supposed to be here. That's what
Let's see.
I think I got 2 years on you, and I think
Okay.
here has a couple years. I mean,
Hey, that's the old fans that actually run a lot of this stuff.
You're just a bunch of creepy old men.
yes,
Yep.
we are.
Yeah.
We're here to talk
Fucking
about
weirdos.
little girl's cartoon. Oh man,
That's right.
It's adorable.
Bunch of fucking pedophiles. Every last one of them.
oh my.
Do you want to move on to the audience?
I like that.
questions?
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Sheldon,
Oh, what'd you say,
do
Corey?
you want to hit some of the audience questions now?
How many do you got?
So far, I got about 5.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Bring it on.
I'm looking at this chat and going, which of these are you going to ask me?
All of them.
Boy,
Okay. Nisi Nodal 2 wants to know, how many men are you able to please at the same time?
Oh god.
Oh wow.
I try to stick to one-on-one interaction.
It's probably pretty
You know, we were sounding so professional, and then you just had to come and fuck it all up. Good job.
I hate
Good
professional.
job.
Well,
I felt bad for asking a personal question, and then you just come out and there.
I mean, it's a legitimate question. I mean, but it depends though, right? Like is this like a competition? Are we winning money? Like what's our motivation here? People normally don't just go around trying to please as many people as they can sexually at once. I mean, it's not.
He didn't say. I don't believe the question was sexually. The question
I'm
was
pretty
not
sure that's
sexual.
what that. I think that's what that person was implying.
Well, I still feel, after I asked Larson about his sexual escapades with any fans, that
Right,
everything
right.
after that is much
Right.
easier to ask.
Of
It was
course.
much more difficult to ask that question. Okay, R. Chase wants to know, why doesn't Nightmare Nights Dallas have an 18-plus panel for animators? He's asking because of Pika PD.
Well, that is because Nightmare Nights Dallas is an all ages, that is to say, PG-rated convention. Basically, because Hasbro, it's a kids show, and Hasbro has some very strict rules on acceptable content that events their voice actors and stuff show up at. So you have to play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Do you have any contracts with Hasbro, or are they just they kind of turn the other cheek? But if you did something that was 18+, you're afraid they might come in and try to shut you down.
We, as an organization, have no formal contact. All of the guest appearances are decided on by the agents, but the agents have rules from Hasbro that they have to abide by. So certain things are simply not kosher, and if they occur, then, or if they're put on as official convention events, that raises a lot of red flags, and so you won't see a lot of 18+ content at conventions that generally have show guests.
So what do you
You
think
can't
though
even-
about TrotCon though this year? They kind of had that vendor hall area that was set up.
Oh
for
yeah.
Yeah.
18+. I heard that was actually a pretty big hit with the guests of the con.
Huh.
I
have no doubt.
The show staff.
Well, again, that's just how we roll.
Yeah.
And it's
TrotCon
totally
wants
your
to go that
fault.
way. TrotCon rolls that way, good. And if it works out for them, great. But we'll stick to our standards.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, Blue Anon wants to know, what are y'all's favorite fan-made character, like Green Anon, etc.?
Fan character.
Are you still on
Well-
4chan? You might have seen the threads with some of the more recent ones.
The
like
choose your own
Rag.
adventures and whatnot.
Yeah.
Squeezy draws some cute pwn, but Horsewife is pretty cute right now. Flufflepuff's classic. Can't really think of a lot of fan OC that really like stood out to me though.
Tracy Cage.
Tracy Cage. My
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I have her shitfic card, but yeah, I don't really know. Let's just go with Flufflepuff. It's cute and stupid.
Yeah, I like Flufflepuff. She's real cute.
Everybody loves Fluffles of the
So
Puff.
the race of Flufflepuffs have been really pandering to the adult crowd with that romance.
Oh yeah, the Chrissy and Flufflepuff. That's just what the
Although it's
they're
super
like.
cute, I will say it's super cute.
They don't really do anything. They just kind of hint at it, you know.
It's
It's like-
insinuated. It's heavily insinuated.
yeah. But it's not like, you know, anything goes on or they show anything. It's just kind of
I'm
like...
pretty sure the actual show is insinuated worse.
Nisi Nodal 2 has another question. They want to know, how do you please your Dakimakura?
Oh my god.
That seems
Oh.
like a pretty important question. I mean,
That is a very important question, but since Dakimakura are just pillows and therefore can't be pleased one way or the other, I don't really know how to answer that question.
Ha,
that
right.
is a very good point. Very good point.
It's a pillow,
like-
not really your waifu.
Exactly.
You don't know our love.
You know,
You
there are
triggered
those
me.
pictures, you know, you've got the Japanese dudes with their waifu pillows and go into the cafes. You know, it's only a matter of time before someone
Kinda
does
like-
the same.
It's so fucking pathetic to me. Like, really, man? Come on.
Well, someone like made one of those as a joke, and then it became popular, and it's all like you.
No, you're insulting them. But Chef Sandy, how do you feel about people going into like a public cafe with a fursuit on? Like, it's kind of the same dynamic.
No, it is not.
No, I would disagree with that, definitely.
Well, it's
I
not
would
quite
completely
the same.
disagree with that. No.
But this is my personal opinion. There is always a time and a place for that kind of thing. If it's part of the meetup you're going to, and the owners of whatever place you're going to are aware of it, cool, that's fine. But if you're just a rando showing up in your fursuit when it's just a group of friends,
Right.
you know, going to eat dinner at a restaurant, and suddenly it's 5 normal-ish looking people and a dude with ears and a tail or a fursuit, that's a problem. Don't do that, kids.
Oh, at least not if you live in Texas. That could probably get the crap beat out of you.
There's a
Not
lot
really.
worse. There's a lot worse you could do in Texas. Let me be honest.
I mean, if you live in San Francisco, go ahead. Do it.
Yeah.
Well,
Isn't
hey.
there a street in San Francisco
Oh.
that is actually really gross and grotesque?
I wouldn't know. I've never been.
There's a festival there.
it's Folsom Street Fair, but that's
Folsom
like a
Street,
once a year event thing.
Yeah, well,
But
that's
it's super
pretty
fetish
disgusting.
heavy.
Ugh.
Yeah, don't do that, kids.
You might get a disease, kids. Breaking news.
Our Chase has a question. He says, what do you think is the biggest shitstorm you've seen in the furry fandom?
In the furry fandom, I would probably say
God.
that would be, and this is going to sound really silly, the quote-unquote Yiffy Leaks incident, when Fur Affinity was hacked and the PMs were basically, the PMs of the vast majority of people were spread out into the internet.
Whoa.
I remember that.
Yes, that was probably the
God.
biggest. When
When did that occur?
No.
Almost several years
Didn't they like list like everybody's passwords too and stuff?
It was a major security breach, so yeah, I don't
Yeah.
recall specifically, but I think that did involve some password changes. And yeah, that was probably the biggest thing, because Fur Affinity is still the de facto furry site for at least
Yeah.
art in a lot of ways. So that was, you know, similar to Patreon getting hacked, I guess, in a lot of ways.
What about the Brony fandom? What's the biggest shitstorm you've seen there?
That'd be Las Pegasus.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Let's see. I got another question. Liquid Schwartz wants to know, will you become a real chef and prepare for me a replica of Ponit Joe's Ponitopia?
Well, while I'm not a real chef, I do like to cook, and but doing a Ponit Joe's Ponitopia, that would be rather difficult. I'd have to acquire quite a few ponuts for that, and I don't think they'd appreciate it too much.
I see.
Okay.
So why is your name Chef Sandy exactly? What inspired this decision?
Because I needed to come up with an OC name for Bronyville, and I was like, let's see.
He's from Texas. Sandy's from Texas. Duh.
Well, again, my dad was a chef for many years, and if you see the name Savrin, well, the character of Savrin is a finnick. He's a finnick furry, and finnicks are sand foxes. So, Chef Sandy. Ta-da! It's the lamest backstory ever, but it works.
Oh, I kind of did the same thing with my pony OC. I just took my furry OC and slapped a mane on it and was like, yeah,
that works.
I asked Corp for my name.
I designed the character as I preferred it, but yeah, it was just like coming up with a name. It was just like I need an alias to go under in this new community. That was really it.
It's terrible.
So Nelson Demifur wants to know who would be your dream guest list for Nightmare Nights.
Oh, well, let's see. So the main 6 that we haven't had yet would be Tara, and we haven't had Ashley Ball, both of which are pretty hard gets for various reasons. It would be nice to... One of the things we wanted to do but weren't able to is get all 4 pony princesses. So we would get Tara and Britt McKillop and Tabitha and
Cadence.
Celestia's VA. No, Celestia's VA.
Oh.
Nicole.
Oh, jeez.
Nicole,
Nicole Oliver.
Nicole.
Wow, you guys.
Yeah. I'm supposed to know this kind of stuff. I completely blanked out there. I apologize.
Hey, I blanked out too, and like Celestia's best princess, so like I feel like a really big tool right now. But that would be a great guest list, and then of course we'd have to get Vincent Tong.
God no.
You got it. Yeah,
No.
he's a bro.
No.
He's a bro.
I have a great guest that you would love to have on as a special guest. His name is Corpulent, and his last name's Brony.
This
He'd be
guy.
a great guest of honor.
Didn't you get a panel Corp or something?
I couldn't go, but yeah, it was actually Sandy, I believe, who emailed me, and I guess someone was supposed to ask me. I don't know. There's some breakdown, and then I got an email from him saying, "Oh, can you do it?" And I had to look into it. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. I really wanted to go. I still want to go, but it's.
Hey, you know what? If
some of us have no money, you know.
if I could have, if I wasn't banned from entering the U.S., I would have flown down to Nightmare Nights with you, if you would have done that panel. I would have went with you.
It would have been a lot of money to go, and I didn't really know anyone there. That was part of it.
I mean, hey, if I go to Texas, I can just go get a gun and shoot it because we don't have guns in Canada.
You can shoot Texas?
Sheldon,
Well,
I will make you a deal. You come to Texas, Sheldon, I will let you shoot all of my guns.
He's
all right, baby.
He's banned for at least another 10 months, right? So.
Yes.
That sounds like there's a story and a half there.
Oh.
I robbed a Best Buy, and that's basically the story.
You didn't rob it, you burglarized it.
Well, whatever.
What's the difference?
Robbing is when you actively go up to someone and tell them to give you the money.
Oh, wow.
And burglarize is when you sneak in and steal shit.
Right.
Oh my.
Okay, we actually do have another question. Blue Anon wants to know, if you had to fight the main 6, which one of them would you not want to fight the most?
This is a really stupid question. I just want to point that out. Blue Anon, stop asking questions.
It's a stupid question, but one I could probably pontificate on for a while. Let's get some more of that.
I mean,
airtime.
isn't this just basically like picking your favorite because you wouldn't?
No.
Best pony.
That's coming up, Sheldon. Don't ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, it's like, well, I wouldn't want to fight Rarity because she's my waifu. And beating up Fluttershy would be like kicking a puppy, so that would be very unfair. AJ or Dash could probably kick your ass pretty well. Then, Pinky would pull some weird shit. Who knows? And Twilight's got magic, and just like magic your arms off if she wanted to. So, You saw the Kamehameha she was throwing back at the end of episode or season 4. So yeah, it's like
Well, Fluttershy's worst pony, so I mean that's obviously the answer to go with. And she wouldn't fight you back, right? So you'd have no chance of losing. You couldn't lose even if you were like a fucking disabled person, right? You would win no matter what.
Yes, but you would feel like shit afterwards.
Well, I guess if you have working empathy centers in your brain, you would feel like shit. But if you don't, then you're good.
Sheldon, you said disabled person, so you mean Rainbow Dash.
Yeah.
No, he means Scootaloo.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
they're both disabled, so let's be honest.
So I'm sorry, I have an important question that I'd like to ask.
Of course you do.
Sandy, why is Twilight Sparkle objectively best pony?
Objectively.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
It's objective.
She's the
Where's
protagonist and therefore the most vanilla.
Oh.
Where's your peer-reviewed?
And they turned her into a
empirical
princess.
evidence here, man?
Oh.
That was the end game. M.A. Larson knew it from the beginning. He wanted to ruin the show.
And he successfully ruined it into having at least another season after this.
My heart's broken.
Oh, poor Corpulent.
It's great. The song playing right now too is Corpulent.
Ah.
By
Oh,
Tate.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's a song Jeff Burgess wrote. Okay, so yeah, audience. Well, I guess Nisi Noodle 2, and I know I'm mispronouncing it. I guess it's Nisi Noodle 2. Wants to know, why don't you love him or her?
Them.
Because
I don't know them. And they ask dumb questions.
Yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to mock our audience. We always do that all the time. Like we openly say we hate them, and they love it. So,
There's this loser called Corpulent Brony who's just in the chat.
Mm.
Yeah, what a jerk.
Yeah, it's all good.
So yeah, man, ponies. What a racket, huh?
Fucking
Are you getting when did you get into the fandom, Sandy? I know I wasn't here.
He started the ride like 4th episode in.
Yeah.
So are you getting a little sick of it, Sandy? Are you a little bit burnt out here on the horses? Yeah.
I really like this show. I think season 5 has been fantastic. But you can only be super involved in a given thing for so long. And, it's like trying out different things, getting way more heavily into anime and whatnot. And,
well, yeah, I was checking out your stuff before the call, and you have, like, content that's, like, all over the board. It's crazy.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I like doing a lot of different things, so my channel is really unfocused.
Yeah.
So it's like trying, like, if I split it off into different channels, which one would be more successful? Nobody gives a shit about, like, my video game content, really. But some people like the anime stuff. But I like making the game content, and I like doing the audiobook stuff because I like doing audiobooks. It's a fun hobby.
Yeah.
And my job. And so, it's just one of those things where my channel is all over the place.
Personally, I thought it was pretty cool myself. I get really tired where someone's like, "Oh, this is my spiel," and that's the entire thing. And you're just like, "Wow, that's kind of lame."
This is my spiel.
And as I mentioned, I'm starting my 3rd pony audiobook, Mendacity by, I think, Dromio Suchis, that I'm working on. But it's obviously I'm a little bit busy right now when it comes to other things going on in my life. So I will try to get the 2nd chapter out before the con, but it's probably going to wait a bit.
That's
So
good
based
word,
on your
yes.
answer, then what's the future of Bronyville? What's the future of Nightmare Nights? Looking at it right
Well, future of Bronyville. Well, when the hiatus comes yet again, we'll probably branch out to doing other show content because we've done the hiatus 4 times now. 5, well, actually more than that, given the fact that there were multiple breaks at multiple points during the seasons, and we had this small 2-month break. So Bronyville will continue in some form or another. We're going to keep that name, and when the show comes back for season 6, and it's coming back for season 6, we'll go back to doing pony content when there's pony content. Nightmare Nights, well, we'll have to see. the brony community's there, and there is plenty of people that are coming to Nightmare Nights, but it is, there is a lifespan here. And, the ride's been going for 5 years. A lot of people that were here in the early days have wandered off. So, it's just a matter of keeping an eye on your demographics and your income and trying to make a good decision so you don't end up, cratering somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, though, at how many people continue to join the fandom. I'm always meeting new people who are just into ponies now. And
Yeah, I mean, it's good that there are people coming in and being like, oh, this is actually really cute. A lot of people that are like, oh, bronies are weird, and then they give it a shot and they're like, oh, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
Which happens rather often.
Well, you heard it here, guys. Nightmare Nights 2016 is kill, so you better go this year. Better go this year.
Breaking
Give them
news.
your money. Give them all your money. Give them all your respect. Go down there if you're in the Texas area.
We do have 2 more questions if you wanted to hit those.
No, keep going. I just wanted to get that out there.
Okay. Okay. Art Chase wants to know, have you hugged your goat mom today?
I have not had the opportunity to play more than about 90 minutes of Undertale, but I did make sure to hug Goat Mom.
Oh.
Having to figure out how to get past Toriel without having to kill her took me a few tries. I didn't actually kill her. I ran away when I was getting too low and went back inside, slept, and was like, Goat Mom told me to go to my room. But I figured out how to get past her without killing her. And I'm trying to do the pacifist run and figure things out because that's a very different way to play the game. And having seen some of the spoilery stuff about what happens if you're going around killing people, the characters that are very friendly and funny are not very friendly or funny towards you. And it makes the game a lot more depressing. As I saw someone on Twitter, it's like a game with no morality system. Yeah, I kick the puppy into the street if it gives me some coins. Games with morality system. Oh God, I stole from you. I'm so sorry. Please don't kill me.
It's kind of like Skyrim. If you kill a chicken, you're gonna get killed yourself.
Yeah.
And then Nelson Demifer wanted to know, since you're a furry and a brony, do you think there could be a con that caters to both evenly?
Not really. You're going to find, I think the closest type of event that would cater to both bronies and furries on a semi-even level would be an anime con that happened to have a furry demo and a brony demo in it.
You mean like most anime cons then?
Yes. Because, consider that, as I mentioned earlier, pony cons are far more guest-orientated, whereas furry cons are far more community-orientated. There's musicians and people and writers and artists and whatever that are the guests at furry cons, but at pony cons we have the show staff and the voice actresses and the comic staff, and there's really no good way to blend the two necessarily. So unfortunately, I think that is a dream too far.
Well, there's one thing I've noticed is that anime and brony cons, it's pretty much almost all about you go there and you be a fan. But if at a furry con, I'm actually considered almost one of the reasons they go, because they love to go and talk to the artists and talk to all the lower people and all the creators and stuff. But it's if you go to an anime convention, it's it's just another anime fan,
Anime conventions are about anime as a medium.
Yeah.
As a brony convention is about this one thing, this small
it's
little
super
thing,
focused.
right? Same with I don't know, furry convention I guess is more similar to an anime convention, I suppose, in the sense of this encompasses so many different things. There's so many different people.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different people, but it's more based around the creatives than the anime is. So at a furry con, the guests are the people that make fursuits, or the people that draw, or people that write books that cater to the fandom, or musicians. There's a guy that goes by the name Foxa Moore, who is basically, I guess, to compare him to somebody that's in the brony community. Look at like what Living Tombstone was doing back in the day, going to all the different cons around the world. He's in Scotland, and so he's traveling internationally quite a bit to go to all these different cons because he's currently the hottest shit. He's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, and he does good music, but it's much more around the low-level creators. There are no there aren't voice actors who do shows that
Right.
I mean, the only con that actually does have anything like that is Anthrocon, and they've had some people that like did some tangentially stuff. Like they had the creator of Underdog, the cartoon, and they had the creator of The Last Unicorn there as guest one year, because those are tangentially furry. But there is no like core furry canon that anybody can be like, oh well, that we should get the people from that to come to our con. And I'm gesturing here, but I'm not doing it on video, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, furry is much more community orientated.
Yeah.
So okay.
And
Does that answer your
furries are really weird, and they creep me out, and I don't like them. And
totally.
They're all child molesters, and I mean,
I believe that's
plenty of
bronies.
reasons.
Bronies are all. Isn't that true?
No.
Well, no. They're all into bestiality and shit. That's the honest answer. I mean, let's be real for a second.
I heard a very going on there.
I never got that. Like when I was young, I've said this a few times. When I was 16, one of my really close friends, Brock, he was a furry, and I first discovered what a furry was in the furry fandom, and a lot of his friends who weren't furries, like myself, they would be like, oh well, you just like to have sex with these animals, and granted, he had a lot of furry porn on his computer, and everyone knew about it, and he flaunted that, but like every single fandom has porn in it, and there's porn of it because humans are inherently sexual creatures, and they tend to sexualize a lot of things. So it's not really weird. It's not really a bad thing. It's not as odd as people think it is. But
all I have to say is
I always hated that
Tijuana
argument.
Bibles.
Like it doesn't make any sense. Like
Tijuana Bibles have existed since the 1910s or so,
right,
and are essentially Rule 34 in its earliest form. So, no, people have wanted to bang cartoon anythings for many years. Over 100 years at this point.
Silliness.
And also, when you mentioned the whole, well, every fandom has this, yes. Have you seen the amount of art of Toriel on Tumblr recently? Or any other site? People really like Goat Mom.
Right.
Oso would say, though, Goat Mom is not for sexual. That's Oso's little quote there.
But
just getting that out.
Yeah, anything that really creates this emotional connection with the viewer, with male or female. I mean, it's easy to understand why they would be sexualized or why people would be into that. And it's a little asinine when you come across people who are like, oh, that's disgusting. Like there's something wrong with you. It's like, well, no, you're just a fucking idiot. You're not thinking about this, man.
There's so much more to ponies than just how hot they are.
Right.
So much more.
So much more. I mean, so much more.
Okay. Well, I'm done.
Let's see. Is there anything else that people ask in this chat? I have to say.
Probably not. They're all really stupid.
Oh. I wonder what will fade away faster, bronies or furries. Let's just say that furries have been around since the 1970s and not going away anytime soon. Have you seen this?
To be fair,
bronies have been
around.
around.
Or longer than that.
Well, furry as its own thing branched off of sci-fi.
Yeah.
The 60s and 70s that featured alien cat people in a lot of ways. And it kind of became its own thing. And you had things like Disney's Robin Hood helping things along, Jungle Book, etc. And so it kind of became its own thing over the time. I mean, I have issues of furry comics older than I am. I actually have one of the I actually have one of the very first trade paperbacks, Omaha the Cat Dancer from 1982.
Oh my god!
I actually have a small collection of like super vintage furry comics.
So have you ever read Furlough?
Yes.
Wow.
That's,
Guys are speaking
Furlough's
another
been going
language.
for years. It's.
I know it has. It's like
If y'all have run out of questions, I have a very striking question.
Can I say
Well,
that My
hold
Little
on, hold
Pony's
on.
been around since 1981 too?
Well, I just want to point out that both of these fandoms are incredibly huge and have insanely passionate followings. So the only thing that will end either of them is the extinction of mankind, and they'll both end at the same time if that's the case. So they both live on forever.
So basically, it's these fandoms are Nazi Germany. They just kind of died off.
Sure.
Kind of.
Okay.
the
Well,
1,000-year fur pile.
That's disgusting. Let's.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Fur pile.
Instead of Aryan, it's Furrian or Ponyan.
Remy,
God.
what were you gonna say?
What was I going to say? Since you all ran out of questions, I was going to ask a very hard-hitting question. In the last Democratic and Republican debates,
Hey, whoa. Hey.
No,
they
go
didn't
ahead.
matter. But
no.
Vermin Supreme says that he will bring ponies to every
Vermin
single of America.
Supreme. Yes.
Do
Oh.
you support Vermin Supreme and his idea to give ponies to the entire nation?
I believe this is called the Pony Identification System.
Yes. I actually would go with, I'll vote Harshwinny. If you've seen the wonderful art that Pixel Kitties has been doing lately, she's put forth a very compelling platform that she can bring professionalism to the government.
Of
And,
course. Yeah.
Vote Harshwinny, vote Pony.
And remember, a vote for Diamond Tiara is a vote for more Diamond Tiara.
Yes.
Basically, the American government in a nutshell.
Yep.
Yep.
That's true.
It never stops them, though.
But remember,
Never
vote Stephen
stops.
Harper.
Vote Stephen Harper. No, actually, hey, don't. If you're Canadian, don't vote Stephen Harper. Putting that out there.
Implying any of us know who he is, Canadian people.
Well, I know who he is. He's the leader of the Canadian Conservative Party and Prime Minister of...
I thought he was the leader of the Canadian Igloo Party.
Canada, who knows?
I thought it was the Canadian Maple Syrup Party.
Well, I guess this is derailing, so if anybody has anything else, we can end it. Corpulent, I believe you started it, so you can end it. Fuck you. I don't feel like doing it. So.
Okay, thank you for listening, every pony, and I'd like to give a special thanks to our guest here, Chef Sandy, for taking time out of his schedule. And you should all go to Nightmare Nights Dallas next weekend if you're able to.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Yeah, you'll have a blast, guaranteed. If you don't, you can go to Chef Sandy and ask for your money back. I don't think he'll give it to you, but you can try.
Yeah, a lot of it's spent at this point.
if you want your money back, tell him Remington sent you.
Yeah, there you
Remember,
go.
we put the fun and no refunds.
Also, don't forget to check out his, he does professional audiobooks. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. Where can people find that and your various YouTube channels? Perhaps you're on Twitter and people are curious about what you're eating in the morning. Maybe
if
you're
you
one
look
of those
at
kind
the
of people.
if you look at the description of this video, you will see links to Nightmare Nights Dallas, the Twitter account for Nightmare Nights Dallas, Bronyville Podcast, the Bronyville Podcast YouTubes, the Bronyville on Twitter, Chef Sandy's YouTube account, and Chef Sandy on Twitter. If there's anything else,
Yep. So yeah, actually, if you go through my videos, I do have some audio previews of stuff that I've done that are available for sale with links to Audible. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've also my anime show 3-episode shot and my various pony audiobook things, which are syndicated both via my YouTube channel and on PVL.
wow.
I make stuff all the damn time.
So if you like him, go give him all your money. He's a good man.
He's
good
a
man.
busy guy.
Well, thanks for coming, every pony, and remember, don't drink or drive, or else. Right? Is that what you're supposed to say?
Yep.